I'm pleased to stand here today and tell you again that our efforts are working. Drugs, criminals, guns, and money are off the streets today because of the diligence and the hard work of our law enforcement professionals and partners in this community who have really made this project a priority. Our neighborhoods are safer because of these folks and the organizations that they represent and their commitment to taking these criminals off our streets. To date, just in 2022, 24 defendants have been charged with significant crimes as a result of this concentrated effort. We've charged more than 200 criminals since we started this project back in January of 2021, and they are now serving an average of 38 months behind bars. I've said it before, and I will say it again, criminals are not welcome in Salt Lake City, and we will do everything we can to catch you. These are not minor infractions of the law. These criminals, these over 200, are charged with drug trafficking, illegal firearm possession, and robbery, just to name a few. We have seized 27 guns off the streets in 2022 alone, 12 of which were reported stolen. Salt Lakers deserve to feel safe in our city, and I'm committed to that need, and Project Safe Neighborhoods is one of many creative approaches that we have taken to addressing crime in our capital city. And in this case, with Project Safe Neighborhoods, we specifically target the activity that is repeatedly being committed by apex criminals in our community. I want to thank the U.S. Attorney's Office, the U.S. Marshal's Office, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the Utah Department of Public Safety, and the Sheriff's Department for your willingness to bring your resources to this need. Thank you, and thank you to your teams who are committed to this day in and day out. And thank you to Salt Lake City police officers who've worked alongside all of these agencies. The dedication of everyone working on Project Safe Neighborhoods is making a huge difference in Salt Lake City, and we are thankful for your work. To our residents, to our business owners, to our visitors to Salt Lake City, there is no finish line. As our city continues to grow and evolve, our public safety challenges will continue to grow as well, right alongside our population. As your mayor, I am committed to continuing to tackle these challenges head on with creativity and as much partnership as we can garner. This is an example of that today. Following me, you'll hear from Salt Lake City Police Chief Mike Brown, then U.S. Attorney for the District of Utah, Andrea Martinez, ATF Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Bradley J. Engelbert, and then FBI Special Agent in Charge, Dennis Rice. We'll proceed from there and take questions at the end. Chief Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. I'd like to start off by saying thank you. Thank you to the people here today. Thank you to our partners. They represent a strong and unwavering commitment to public safety. The partnerships we have with our city, state, and federal agencies represents our commitment of not only ensuring the safety of every Salt Laker, but every Utahn, every person who visits our great state and this great city. What we are doing here in Salt Lake City is vital to public safety. The success we have been talking about today would not have been possible if it wasn't for the people. And when I say people, I'm talking about the women and men of the Salt Lake City Police Department, the detectives, the investigators, all doing incredibly hard work to investigate these cases and then to prosecute them. Since the start of Project Safe Neighborhood, we have seized at least 221 guns. As the mayor said, 27 of those guns just this year alone. You know, it troubles me to think that within the last year, almost every time I have stood at this podium, we have talked about the proliferation of guns in our community and the harm gun violence has caused. Our officers, our federal partners from the U.S. Marshals, the ATF, the FBI, our state, and county partners are committed to arresting and prosecuting those in our community who are habitually committing gun and drug crimes. Through our Project Safe Neighborhood We are investigating those cases and referring them for federal prosecution. Thank you, Andrea. Take, for example, what happened after a man with an outstanding felony warrant who was on federal parole ran into some of our officers. First mistake he made was to run. I mean, that was just one of many. But after we caught him, our officers recovered a pistol, a stolen assault rifle, and ammo during the arrest. Our detectives worked quickly with the United States Attorney's Office, and a federal grand jury indicted against this suspect. The average sentence, like the mayor talked about, was 38 months. That's over 3 years. We will continue sending a message that gun crimes committed in Salt Lake City will be investigated thoroughly using all of our available resources and then prosecuted. Salt Lakers deserve to feel safe in our community. I know that the Project Safe Neighborhood program is having a real impact at protecting our community. Not only are we getting guns off the street, but we are also seizing drugs that could further criminal enterprises, and drugs that could kill our city's youth. One of my greatest fears as the chief is getting a call from our detectives telling me that we've had a member of our community, particularly a youth, overdose and die. With every drug and gun seized, we are making Project Safe Neighborhood program goes towards keeping the city safer and healthier. As you can see in our data, methamphetamines is fueling the drug crimes in our community. Through the Project Safe Neighborhood program, we will continue to target the crimes that cause the most harm in our community. No one here will tolerate violent crimes in our community, and we will be undeterred in our efforts to keep our city safe. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here with us today. Thank you, Mayor Mendenhall and Chief Brown, for inviting us back again to talk about the extraordinary work that's being done by law enforcement and by the Assistant United States Attorneys in my office. It is an honor to be back here with all of you today to reflect on the strengths of our partnerships within Salt Lake City and our combined commitment to keeping the greater Salt Lake City safe from violent criminals. We want our communities to be safe for our residents and also for our visitors. I am proud to report today that after a year and 4 months of a focused partnership and commitment to improving the crime rate in Salt Lake City, we are right where we had hoped to be when we began this initiative. We have collectively taken over 200 firearms off the street, including 49 stolen firearms, and over 108 pounds of methamphetamine has also been taken off of the streets. In addition, 24 defendants being charged in federal court have been robbery-related crimes. The Salt Lake City Police Department statistics show a double-digit decrease in violent crime, and year-to-date it appears that 66.7% of defendants charged pursuant to this initiative were on probation or parole. Those statistics are meaningful in several ways, but they show that we are pursuing dangerous criminals who repeatedly victimize individuals and commit crimes in Salt Lake City, and this has been the focus of our initiative. The Department of Justice Project Safe Neighborhoods has been around for some time, and we have taken a focused look. It's been reinvigorated over time, and today it's doing exactly what it was intended to do here in Salt Lake City. Strengthen our partnerships at the local, state, and federal level to hold violent criminals accountable and to reduce crime. I am really proud of the work that has been done in our communities. We have law enforcement officers who are working tirelessly every day, and we have Assistant United States Attorneys who are taking those cases before grand juries and seeking indictments where they are warranted. I want to thank all of our local, state, and federal partners for being here today and for the commitment and dedication that you have given to our Salt Lake PSN initiative. It takes these partnerships for us to be successful and to meet our mission of the department. Mayor Mendenhall, Chief Brown, Commissioner Anderson, Sheriff Rivera, ATF Assistant Special Agent in Charge Brad Engelbert, DEA Special Agent in Charge Jay Tinkler, Acting United States Marshal Brandon Holt, and FBI Special Agent in Charge Dennis Rice, thank you for all the great work that your agents continue to do day in and day out, and for your partnership in this initiative. I am proud of the partnership that we have with Mayor Mendenhall and Salt Lake City Police Department. Mayor Mendenhall had a vision on how she wanted to tackle the repeat offenders in Salt Lake City, and we are doing just that. I am also proud of the Assistant United States attorneys who have led this initiative and who have prosecuted these cases that are so meaningful in Salt Lake City. I am also proud of all of the men and women in law enforcement at all levels who are on the front lines protecting our communities, oftentimes finding themselves in dangerous situations. You are all doing extraordinary work, and we appreciate you. Thank you very much. I look forward to all of the great work that's going to continue to be accomplished. As has previously been stated, there is no end here. We will continue to do what we need to do to keep our communities and our streets safe, and we are moving right along as we need to in the coming months as we move into our spring and summer of 2022. So I want to thank you all again for being here today, and thank you, Mayor Mendenhall and Chief Brown, for bringing this together. Thanks, Andrew.
Good morning, and thank you all for joining us. Mayor, Chief, thank you for inviting me to speak and for your continued leadership in this endeavor. Andrea, thank you for your continued efforts in pushing through these cases in federal court. And Dennis, thank you for your continued partnership in making this a success. Project Safe Neighborhood, particularly here in Salt Lake, is the best of what law enforcement can be when we bring together our local, state, federal counterparts to enforce laws effectively against apex criminals in our community. Leveraging all the resources that we have available to take the most violent people off the street is exactly what law enforcement should be doing for the community of Salt Lake City and the greater Utah area. We talk about these numbers of guns being recovered, 221 over the course of the entire project, 27 of those this year. About a quarter of those are previously reported as stolen. But I think it's important to note that those guns don't just appear in law enforcement custody. It's the hardworking women and men of the Salt Lake City Police Department in particular who are out there every day encountering armed individuals, putting their lives at risk to recover these firearms and bring them into custody. And I think that really is a point that we need to make. These guns don't just appear in our evidence rooms. They are being sought and brought into custody by the hardworking women and men of the Salt Lake City Police Department. So, Chief, I commend your department for the work they do and the risk they're putting themselves at. It's a phenomenal effort that we have seen over the last year from your folks. Those 221 firearms, that's not 221 crimes that have been prevented. Each one of those firearms, and we know this, are going to be used over and over and over again. So when we talk about pulling 221 firearms off the streets, we're talking about potentially hundreds, maybe even thousands of violent crimes that are now not going to be committed with those firearms. So I think the numbers really belie what really has the impact to the community that bringing these firearms off the street is. And again, it's just a testament to the hardworking men and women of the Salt Lake City Police Department, as well as our partners with the FBI, the Marshal Service, DEA, and then ATF as well. It's a fantastic partnership. It's something that ATF has prioritized nationally. ATF has specifically prioritized here in Salt Lake City. I'm proud to be a part of it and look forward to the continued partnership. Thank you.
Thanks, Brown.
Good morning. Again, thank you for being here. I do want to thank Mayor Mendenhall, Chief Brown for the invite to be able to participate in this. Obviously, U.S. Attorney's Office, Andrea, and ATF and our other federal partners. I've been in law enforcement for 30 years, but what I noticed progression of that 30 years, it's the partnerships that have led to our success. So the partnerships that we have here are really key and vital to what we're trying to accomplish. It's bringing the resources to bear from every agency. All of us are unique, but none of us can do this alone. But in addition to those in law enforcement and leadership positions and prosecutors, the partnership that we really value is the partnership from the community. It's you sharing what you know about what's going on in the community with us so that we can take action and use our laws to enforce and reduce this violence of these guns. The men and women of the FBI are certainly committed to doing everything we can to assist in reducing crime and getting these guns and drugs off the street. But I deeply admire and appreciate the leadership that we have here that are committed to try to keeping our community safe. We all live here, we all work here, but we all deserve the right to step out of our home every day and feel safe, but we all have to work together to make that happen. So please do your part. That would be my ask, is do your part. If you see something, say something. You know there's information out there. Please pass it along. Don't pass it off. Don't rely on someone else. If you know there's information out there about drugs or guns, please, we ask you to report it so that we can take action. I want to give a personal thank you to all the law enforcement men and women who do put their lives on the line for us every day. We wake up every morning, we go to bed every night, relying on the law enforcement community to protect us, to do their part, put themselves in harm's way. And so I'm really proud of this initiative and the accomplishments. You've heard the statistics of what we've been doing. We're going to continue to work on that. It's never going to go away, unfortunately. We have to continue to work together. But the community, along with us, the prosecutors, along with the mayor, this is how we're going to make a difference. Again, we appreciate the opportunity to partner, but it's truly the partnerships that are making the difference, and all of us play a part in protecting our community. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Thanks, Dennis. I just want to reiterate what Dennis just said. This is the way, as a citizen, I want to see government working. I want to see organizations, institutions, agencies stepping out of their lane to share what is all of our lane, which is public safety and the well-being of our communities. This is an incredible partnership of overlapping and shared goals, coordination, and pooling of resources to get a job done that alone we couldn't do this well. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And as Dennis said, the organization you don't see here is the public. And without our public, without people calling in these tips, without people calling in when they see something, we couldn't do this work. So thank you, and I really appreciate that, Dennis. Thank you to the public. Please keep us informed, and don't hesitate to reach out if there's something you know that we need to be aware of. I think we're happy to take some questions. Are there any?
Yeah, I have a question. Is there any evidence or any sort of analysis on the potential deterrent effect of federal prosecution having on criminals? Is anybody measuring and saying street criminals are now afraid of getting federally prosecuted?
Andrea, or Chief, do you want to take that? Anybody? Okay.
Go ahead, I'll follow up.
Thank you.
All right, so the United States Attorney's Office, we have a couple different initiatives, or a few different initiatives that we have focused on Project Safe Childhood. Now, Project Safe Childhood we do across the District of Utah, but we have particular projects where we're focused on. One of those projects had been initially, and is still going on, in Weber County. And we have an area that criminals have notified law enforcement, essentially, that they know this is an area where they could potentially be caught engaged in criminal activity. And so there are some statistics there. I don't have the number before me, but at least that we do know that there is some impact that was handled there. And as far as Salt Lake City, I'll let the chief address that.
You know, to your question, I don't know of any study that's been done or data, but I do know in a lot of conversations with chiefs across the country, when there's a violent crime spike or a hotspot, when we bring in federal partners like we have here today, and we apply the Project Safe Neighborhood model, and we prosecute people and we put them away for 38 plus months, 3.5 years, it does have an impact. So I'm sure there's a study out there, but I just know incidentally that is that's a big motivator for what chiefs across this country are doing.
Yeah, so if anybody out there hears us today, I hope those who are repeating these kind of apex crimes hear us most of all. You're going to go away. You're going to be off the streets for an average of 3.5 years. There's not just an intolerance for those kind of activities, but there is a complete system that is running like a well-oiled machine after 14 months of operation, and we will get you.
How many people have been prosecuted through this so far?
I think 24 there's
This
been
year.
200, oh, this year?
There were
24 did this year?
This year, 207 total so far since the project started. We have some handouts over here that have all that data for you.
Anything else?
Any other questions?
One other question, 2/3 of the folks who've been prosecuted in this are AP&P offenders or probation parole. Is there any effort working with the state to loop them into this project and rein in some of those AP&P offenders that we see often as these apex criminals?
Yeah, they're a critical partner to what we're doing. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I met with one of the directors from AP&P talking about how we can collaborate to return those back to parole or to prison, wherever they be, but really to emphasize this is not going to be tolerated, especially those that are on parole or probation.
And Chief, these are, special projects that you have your officers working on, right? When you guys are focusing on the projects?
They're not so much special projects. This is the work we're doing every day, 24/7, 7 days a week. An example yesterday, and we speak to partnerships. We had a community member call in and say, hey, I think I saw a guy with a gun in Liberty Park. Patrol officers respond. They run into two individuals. Both are intoxicated in our park, both having guns. One had a gun in his waistband. After further investigation, we found another gun, a high-capacity magazine. We found cocaine. We found meth. Both guns were stolen on our streets in our park. To the mayor's point, there will be accountability. Salt Lake City will be safe.
I have another follow-up. With your day-to-day parole officers, I know there's been concern around the response time. Is there any update on that at all?
Response times?
If we're talking about, you have your day-to-day officers that are even
Yeah.
helping with these numbers, how are the response times going?
The response times are coming down. I think last time we reported for February, there were about 10 minutes. Our next report will be out here the 1st of March, so we'll be looking at that number and we'll get that out to you. Yes, sir?
Sorry. I'm sorry for that. I don't think, I might have missed it at the beginning. I was just trying to see if there's a percentage on the decrease in crimes in Salt Lake City?
The what?
The percentage, like is there a percentage on the decrease?
We run a CompStat model and I looked at it this morning. This year, to date, 2021 compared to the same time period of 2020, violent crime is down 4.1%.
You mean 2022 to?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's been a blur here the last couple of years, yeah. 22 to 21, down 4.1%.
And that's since January of 2021?
Yeah, same time period. Yeah.
Can I ask a question on stolen guns? Are we finding most of these are burglary stolen guns, or do we know where these 12 guns this year, where those come from? Is there any common thread with that?
Everywhere. If you look at 2020 and 2021, there were more guns sold in this country, record numbers of guns. There are a record number of guns that are stolen. So yeah, you're talking burglaries, car thefts, car prowls. Their guns are being stolen everywhere. And that's why we encourage people to be much more responsible in the way they own and take care of their guns. Guns are now on the street, are becoming a currency. People will shoot and ditch, the gun becomes currency that they'll trade for drugs or for money. Yeah, guns are everywhere.